Why is it in life where you're almost more sad when nothing's going wrong in life compared to when something is going wrong in our life? This ultimately comes down to the idea of never being satisfied. If you really think about it, when you have good money, a good body, a good relationship with your family, you're never really satisfied because something else is always better out there for you. With the way life is structured now, we're always comparing ourselves and always wanting more. If you have a 6-pack, you want an 8-pack. If you have $100,000, you want $200,000. If you have a good relationship with your family, you want a girlfriend. We're never going to be satisfied in life, and therefore we're always going to want more. And to me, that feeling of always wanting more is almost as bad or even worse than if I was just to be sad in general. If I were to compare that feeling in life of wanting more compared to me breaking up with, they're almost the same feeling, and I feel almost the same exact sadness with each time. The only difference is that with being broken up with and going through rough times in my life, I have motivation. If my girlfriend broke up with me because I was fat, I have motivation to work out and get skinnier. If my girlfriend broke up with me because I had no money, I would have motivation to get more money. Even if my girlfriend and I broke up on good terms, I would still try to become a better person because that relationship is going to make me reflect on things I need to get better at. Now compare that when you have nothing wrong in your life. Good money, good body, financial stability, happiness in life. It's harder for you to be happy about those things because you're always going to be wanting more. No matter how far off in life, even if you have $1 million saved up, most of the time people are going to want more. And that sucks, but that's how life is nowadays. So now the question is, how to become happy when nothing's wrong is going in our life and we feel sad? This comes down to two major factors. Number one, learning how to be grateful, and two, trying out new things. Learning how to be grateful sounds easy enough, but it's really hard to actually understand. When have you really taken a step back, look where you came from, and look where you are now? I used to be insanely fat back in high school, and now I don't have an amazing body, but I've lost tons of weight and even gained tons of muscle. And I don't realize that on a day-to-day basis, but the days that I do remember, I honestly remember how grateful I come from and how grateful I am to be able to be in the position I am. There's points in my life where I had negative money in my bank account and now I have tens of thousands of dollars saved up. And while that achievement may not be that big to some people, it's definitely a big achievement for me. But yet I don't recognize the growth enough. Being able to take a step back and realize how far you've come will allow you to be more grateful and understand that the position you're in is actually a lot better than you used to be. Therefore, you will actually become more happy with the position you're in. And the second way to be happy without realizing you're actually sad is trying new things. In life, whenever we try new things, we get happy. However, the better we get at these new things, the less we feel satisfied. This is the law of diminishing returns. For example, for me, when I first started weightlifting, I couldn't bench a plate. But then after I benched a plate, I was ecstatically happy. However, every weight pushed after a plate was exciting, but didn't feel the exact same excitement as I first hit a plate. Because that's your first time, that's your first mile time, you're going to be the happiest. This is how it goes for every new hobby. You always suck at it, you get better at it, and you feel excitement. But then at some point, you become so good at the hobby where gains of getting better doesn't really feel that great. Therefore, it's important to try new things. Whether it's cooking, cleaning, a new workout style, or a new running style, it's important to do those things because you're always going to learn how to get happy. You're going to see the growth, and therefore, you're going to become more happy with the growth you have. But Jacob, there's so many things in life, and I don't want to do everything. Do we just continue doing new hobbies? New hobbies doesn't have to be a new hobby every single time. It can be innovation within your own hobby. For example, I picked up weightlifting for 3 months, and after 3 months, I didn't really like it because I wasn't seeing growth and I wasn't happy with the growth I was making. So therefore, I switched from weightlifting to calisthenics. Being able to do 25 push-ups at one time to 100 push-ups at a time was super fun. I saw the growth, I saw the impact, I saw the innovation I was making in my day-to-day life as a calisthenics athlete. And eventually that got old, so I started going to powerlifting. And after powerlifting, I went back to bodybuilding. Building new habits to see growth and gain happiness doesn't mean having to get a new hobby every single week. It can be as simple as innovating the hobbies you already have. As an ex-college athlete, I used to practice making 100 threes a week. And after 100 threes a week, I made all the way up to 500 threes a week. Now, after I got to 500 threes a week, it was really hard for me to get 600 threes. And I had two options. I could have stuck by it, made 600 threes in a week, and got better, but become less happy because I was already so good at the sport. Or I could have focused on a new skill of basketball. And that's what I did. Since I have no goal of going pro or going back to college, I didn't really feel the need to get to 600 threes a week. Therefore, instead of practicing on shooting threes, I worked on my handling in basketball. And I saw the growth. Seeing my crossover get faster, my behind the back get faster, being more shifty on the court made me happier because I saw the improvement every single week. Now again, you don't have to try a new hobby every week. You don't have to have this big bag of things to do. Just simply innovate and get better at the hobbies you're already good at. And when you get bored of it and you're not as happy as in the growth you are, try a new variation of it. Ultimately, being able to be happy in the circumstance you're in comes down to being grateful and innovating and creating happiness in the situations you're already in.